Okay, I'm going to show you how to create a LED large screen TV set by the Extrude method, and this will be part one. And so what we need to do is we need to go into the front view and open up our object reference. So click on that image and let's find our Sony TV set. And I think I've got quite a few here. There it is. Which one do I want to do? I think that's the one I did for my scene. I also have this one here too as well. It doesn't matter to me which one I do, so I'll just do this one again. So with the Sony TV, TVs are fairly easy to do, and you'll be able to create it pretty quickly. So let's go ahead and click that open. That's a pretty large image anyway. So the larger the image, the better, because you can take the Sony logo and to be able to get that, recreate that in text and put it back on there. That's important, but right now we're just going to worry about the outline. So let's go ahead and place that in the background, push that back like we did before, and then we're going to go in here and create a layer for it so we can turn it off and on. And I'm going to place this on top of the 0, 1. Again, I'm going to place these. Now notice that it does have perspective, okay? So I'm going to look at the perspective as the back. I'm not going to worry about the front, how these come down, because that's not really how it looks. It's got a perspective distortion on that. But I'm going to place that up so the bottom hits that. Okay. Okay, awesome, great. So make sure it's centered as best as you can see that it's centered. Okay, and then put in a layer so you can turn it off and on. I'm going to rename that as TV background. And then I'm going to put that in as a reference. Okay, so I can't select it anymore. Alright, so now in the front view, we're going to want to turn off grid. That just gets in the way, unless you want to use the grid for some reason. So let's go ahead and start modeling. The first thing I'm going to do is we're going to use our cube, our primitive cube, and scale that up. I'm going to go ahead and turn the X-ray on right away and just put it in the center and scale that up. Okay, so it's an HD TV, so it's not going to be perfectly square. Get kind of a rectangle. And the way I usually like to get this set up is I will go in here and right click over this and go to vertex mode and really get those, zoom in and get that line set up exactly. So I'm going to move those vertices up and make sure that my line is set up as close as I can to the TV. And you can see how it's pixelating. That's what I mean by pixels. So I'm going to get close to that. There we go. And do the same thing to this side and the top. Once I get this exactly how I want it, there we go, that's easy to see, that's good, because it's got a reflection on it. And this one here, we go to the top right to there. There we go. Alright. This one's harder to see. It looks like we could go out to the side there a little bit more. Alright, if you're a perfectionist like me, you want to get that set up. Okay, so now that's set up. Now what we're going to do is we're going to cut edge loops down to where we want the frame of the TV. Okay. Now you notice that I didn't do much to the thickness, right? So right now the thickness it's really thick. So I'm going to change that so we can get a little bit better thickness here. LED TVs are very thin. Let's go something like that. Okay, and then we'll fatten it up in the back when we're like most TVs are. Okay, so from the front. That's what we have so far as a good start. So now what we're going to do is right click over, or hold the shift key down, right click over it and go to Insert Edgeloop Tool. Hold the shift key down, right mouse button click over the object and go to Insert Edgeloop Tool. Now we're going to do something really loose, meaning I'm just clicking the top here and I'm going to move that over as close as I can, get it set up the best I can with that. Okay. And then I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to click on the edge up on top with my left mouse button, and holding down the left mouse button, I'll move it over to where I want it on this one. And the same thing, clicking on this outside edge, I'm going to click on it, hold my left mouse button down, and then move it up. So you can move these around, which is nice, by holding down your left mouse button. Okay. All right. So like I said, the LED TVs are much nicer and easier to model than the old TVs. You guys don't even remember what those tube TVs. If you're old enough, you'll know that tube TVs are a lot harder to model than LEDs. So you guys got lucky there. Yeah. So let's go ahead and get those set up. So you got those set up. Now again, you want to go in there and make sure that you're precise. So hit the Q key, get out of that tool. The Q key will get you out and go into vertex mode. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these, marquee select the ones on the inside now, and zoom in and just get that more precise. Hit the W key and get more precise here. As you can see that I'm off, even though I look like I was on, so I'm off there. So I'm going to do that for all the inside pieces. As you can see, I'm just marquee selecting the inside and zooming in and getting at that one's really close. In fact, I'll leave that one. That one's good. And then do the inside on this side. And I'm just doing that for all these pieces. And zooming in here, holding down the Alt key and my twirling my middle mouse button. So I'm going to move that. There we go. And then the bottom inside. So once we get that, we're good. There we go. Okay, so that looks pretty good. We're good. All right, that's about as precise as we're going to get it. And so what we want to do now, when we do box modeling for the frame, this is the frame of the TV, and it's probably even thinner than that. So, but I'm not worried about that right now. So what I'm going to do now, the next step is to go to face mode and select the inside face. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to add that dimension that actually is the frame. So I'm going to go Control E. Now we're still box modeling, so Control E, that's extrude. Hit the W key and move that back. Now we're going to move that back to the depth of that frame. You can see we don't need to move back much. I mean, this is way too much. So just the frame scale, okay, the scale of the thickness of that frame. So you know, it doesn't need to be pushed back that far. Okay, all right, very good. Okay, cool. So that's the frame, and that's basically it. Now the problem is, okay, is the thickness of the TV. So we're going to go to the top view, and I'm going to fix that, of course. I can scale it, but I tend not to do scaling versus just moving vertices around. So I'm going to move the back basically towards the front. Okay, all right, so there we have it. There's the front, okay, and here's the back. Now, most TVs have a little bulbous area to it where the electronics are sitting, okay? Or they have, it depends on, I'm not really interested in modeling the back of this. I'm not going to get and find out what the TV looks like in the back because you'll never see it. Unless you have a reflective mirror behind it, then you'll have to, do that. But most of these are against the wall, so you don't really need to take the time to do that. So if you want to just kind of show that there's some depth to it, you could do this. All right, so let's go in here, select the back, okay, not that part, just one of the faces in the back. and do this. You can go in here and you can move it just a little bit. Hit the W key and move it back a little bit like that. And so just moving that will cause it to create that shape that you're looking at. Okay. Now you can do this a little bit more, and then you can scale that in a little bit more. Okay, you can see that it's looking pretty good actually. There we go. So that's all you have to do. And that will give you enough room for the electronics and ventilation, like those little vents and all that stuff to put in there. Now some TVs even have more information. You know, if you really want to go crazy, find the back of a TV, take a picture of it, and model it. That's all I can tell you. But for this instance and for this example, we're not going to do that. We're not going to go that far. Okay, so we got enough there. So if we do see the TV from this angle, we can see that, oh yeah, it's got some depth. It looks realistic. Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is, this is one piece, right? So we always want to look at things in pieces. Okay, so the legs will be something totally different. So if you see those legs, I don't know what your legs look like. It could be a stand of some kind, but my legs are coming from the back, okay, and coming down. And then basically what that is just an extruded cube, okay, and it is shaped in a way that it is coming down from the back, going up, and then coming down again. It's holding the entire weight of that TV, which is, they're heavier than you think, those big screen TVs. Not as heavy as the projection TVs of 10 years ago. But they're still pretty heavy. Anyway, so I'm going to go ahead and extrude the legs now. So to do that, I'm going to create a cube. Okay, and move that up. And then we're going to do one leg. Now you may have a different looking thing, so anyway, I'm going to start, it starts in the middle, and that's okay. And I'm going to scale that down, and I'm going to basically use the shape that I have here, and get that started and move that down. So it looks like it's coming down like that. Okay. So you can see that part of it. There we go. And so what I'm going to do with this part here is I'm going to add an edge loop. Now you may have a different situation, but anyway, you get to, whoops, I didn't want to do that. Add an edge loop to this guy. There we go. Awesome. And we're going to extrude that out. So I'm going to right click, go to object mode, hit the Q key, and we want to go to face mode. I'm going to select that face. Now that face that I've selected, I'm going to extrude that out, okay, kind of following this stand. So hit the Control E and then W and move that out, okay. Now I can give a little shape to it like that, okay, and right to the bottom of the screen there like that. So that's the part that's actually holding the weight of the TV, okay. So then I'm going to go in here, extrude again, and move this out directly out as that shape of the leg, okay. So you can see that it's some cool stuff happening here. I can go in here and scale that down just like the leg looks like in here, okay. It's a little thinner too there on the end like that, so I do that, okay. Awesome. And I can also move it to the side like that to get the shape of the leg. So you can see that, and I can actually move it down if I want to too as well. Okay, so the cool thing about this, you can do some really cool things. I can take this vertex here, these vertices here, and move that down to basically give that shape. And from the side view, I've got to have the same angle here on both pieces here. Okay, so you can see that there's that angle. Okay. And they're like, if I pull that down, and this is like the leg and the stand for the TV set. So there we go. So they're on the same level. If you're not sure, what you do is you take these two guys here, okay, and snap them to the grid, and then bring them back up again. So snap them like that. Oh, let's go ahead and snap that one. Snap to the grid. There we go. And then snap this one to the grid like that. and then move them up together, turn snap off, and then move them back together, and you know they're on the same plane.